Welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I am Uchenna Chimdi Oluoha. In the headlines, Enugu State Government denies sponsoring certificate forgery allegation against Minister. Tinubu calls for caution and retrospection over Pengassan Dangote dispute. Lavrov meets Afghan counterpart after Russia recognizes Taliban government. And Indonesia ends search for victims of boarding school collapse, 61 dead. Details in a moment.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
The Enugu State Government has denied sponsoring allegations of certificate forgery against the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Chief Uche Nnaji. In a statement issued by the Director of Information in the Ministry of Information and Communication, Chukwuemeka Nebo, the government said it had no hand whatsoever in the controversies surrounding the minister's academic records. The Enugu government dissociated itself completely from the allegations and advised the minister to clear his name before Nigerians, instead of dragging the government into issues that are entirely personal to him. The statement recalled that Nnaji had invited journalists to a World Press Conference scheduled for Monday to address the matter, but failed to show up, leaving behind proxies who could not withstand the barrage of legitimate questions from journalists. It wondered why the minister, who claimed to be a university graduate, only submitted his secondary school certificate to the Independent National Electoral Commission for his participation in the 2023 governorship election. A mounting judicial controversy has continued to unfold in Enugu State over the case of Labour Party politician Bright Ngene, who won election into the Enugu State House of Assembly. His election victory, subsequent reruns, incarceration, and the repeated recusal of judges have placed Nigeria's age-old maxim, justice delayed is justice denied, under fresh scrutiny. Signature TV correspondent Chinemerem Ikebunam has been following the developments closely and now reports.
Bright Emeka Ngene, a lawyer and politician, contested the 2023 Enugu State House of Assembly election on Labour Party ticket for Enugu South Urban 1 constituency. INEC declared him winner with 5,862 votes against PDP's Samuel Ngene, who scored 2,098. But that victory was overturned by the tribunal in September 2023, which ordered a rerun in 8 polling units. What followed was a series of reruns, cancellations, and legal battles. On August 16, 2025, while serving a prison sentence for an unrelated case, INEC again declared Ngene winner for the rerun, sparking fresh protests over his continued detention despite his electoral victory. The controversy has now deepened as multiple judges have recused themselves from his case, raising questions about political interference and delayed justice. At the Supreme Court's legal year opening, NBA President Justice Afam Asigwe reminded the judiciary that justice delayed is justice denied and urged the Enugu State High Court to act swiftly in Bright Ngene's case.
We will not fail to use this opportunity to call attention and deprecate the stateful circumstance surrounding the hearing of the appeal filed by a colleague, Bright Ngene, against his conviction by a magistrate court in Enugu State. The prolonged delay in determining the appeal gives an impression of a deliberate effort to ensure that his appeal is never heard. It is disturbing that the matter which initially reached judgment stage was truncated on the very day of judgment because the judge refused to deliver judgment and proceeded to recuse himself. Owing to the public outcry and a long delay in assigning the matter to another judge, the matter was assigned to another judge, who unfortunately, on the 23rd of September 2025, recused himself yet again. It is beginning to look as if there is a concerted effort to ensure that the appeal is never heard, so that Bright Ngene will serve the full term imposed on him by the court. If this is indeed true, then this is not the face of justice we want to present to the world.
Ngene's legal troubles dates back a 2017 community dispute in his community, Apuke, where he and a co-defendant were accused of misappropriating community development funds. Ngene's spokesperson, Ben Kachuku, confirmed that Justice Enu Oleido is the fifth judge to withdraw from the case. He described the continuous stretching of the trial as politically motivated, insisting that while Ngene's co-accused has been freed, Bright's case remains unresolved.
So I do not know how many the number of judges that they want this case to go through their table before this. Like I've always said, we want justice. If Honorable Bright Emeka Ngene committed the crime of stealing the 15,750,000 naira from this community, because let the punishment as that is equating that law be meted out on him. Everybody will go fine. But when you have not been able to prove it, it shows that there is a hand of, is it Esau and the voice of Jacob.
In a telephone interview, Ngene's wife, Mrs. Munachi Ngene, recounted how her husband's file has been moved from one judge to another, even returning to Chief Judge Ezugu just 24 hours after being handed to Justice Nwobodo. She appealed to the state government to intervene in the matter, lamenting the toll his incarceration has caused the family, especially her husband's ailing mother.
I don't know what is happening. That's all I know.
Yes.
Is that God, they are not above God. They may say they are somehow above, right? But there is God in heaven that is still interested in the affairs of men. And at the due process, at the due cost, he will do something for us.
Ma, you say you don't really know what is happening, but some persons say that it's politically motivated.
Yes, of course.
Why do you say so, Ma?
Because when you talk about theft and conspiracy, available offense. Why are you delaying it? Why are you not granting him bail pending appeal?
Human rights lawyer Barrister Maxwell Ora described the prolonged delays as unjustifiable. He commended Justice Oluedo for stepping aside rather than risking an unfair judgment, and maintained that Enugu has capable judges who can deliver justice if given the chance.
Like the judge that just recused himself from Bright Ngene's case must have personal reasons to do that, and I think that is the best, because it is wrong for a judge to continue in a matter and at the end of the day do injustice in that case and give perverse judgments. So, but I will be urging the chief judge, as a matter of urgency, to assign that case to other judges. We have serious, courageous judges in Enugu. I may mention but a few names. I know that Honorable Justice Eya, if this case is given to Honorable Justice Eya, he will deal with this case decisively. Within 3 months, he has dealt with this matter. I know that if you give this case to Justice Obuabo, he will deal with this matter decisively. We have other judges. C.I. Nwobodo is there. There are judges that will deal with this matter. I don't know why they are just rigmaroling.
All attempts by Signature TV to secure an interview with the state chief registrar proved abortive, as he declined to comment on the matter. As the case file continues to be transferred from one judge to another, the cry for justice grows even louder. And for the people of Enugu South Urban Constituency, who have effectively been denied representation in the state's legislature, expectations are high for an expeditious resolution in a fair and equitable manner in Enugu. Chinemeremi Kebunam, Signature TV News.
It was a moment of joy and gratitude to God in Enugu State as family, friends, associates, and other dignitaries gathered to celebrate the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Dr. Kingsley Ude, following his elevation to the prestigious rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SAN. Signature TV correspondent Chinemerem Ikebunam was at the event.
The city of Enugu came alive over the weekend as the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Dr. Kingsley Ude, held a Thanksgiving ceremony in celebration of his recent conferment as a Senior Advocate of Nigeria, one of the highest honors in the legal profession. The event began with a holy mass at Christ the King Parish, GRA Enugu, where the Bishop of the Enugu Catholic Diocese, Most Reverend Callistus Onaga, led the congregation in prayers of thanksgiving, blessing Dr. Ude and his family for these remarkable achievements.
Brother Attorney General, Since you will start from here, the source of his strength. Well, not that the sounds are more brilliant or more sound than many others, but they are brilliant and sound. There are many those legal practitioners that are doing so well. They are brilliant and sound. Some of the lawyers, like I said, who are very brilliant, some lawyers will never see him say, my own son. I call him my own son. It is not yet an official son, it is my own son. Because of his way of deliverance, the way of courage, it matters and laws.
From the church, the celebration continued at Enugu State International Conference Center, where traditional rulers, judges, legal practitioners, local government chairmen, top government functionaries, family members, and friends gathered to rejoice with the new silk. Governor Peter Mba, in his remarks, commended Dr. Ode for bringing pride to Enugu State, describing his elevation as a recognition of hard work and excellence. The governor thanked all guests for honoring the occasion and proposed a toast to celebrate the new son.
Let us raise our glasses to celebrate a worthy ambassador and a distinguished son of Enugu State. Congratulations, our brand new silk. Congrats. We couldn't be any prouder. Thank you so much. Thank you for ennobling this occasion with your presence. Thank you so much and God bless you all. Thank you.
In an emotional speech, the celebrant Dr. Kingsley Ude expressed deep gratitude to God Almighty for his grace and to the governor, Peter Mba, for the opportunity to serve as the Attorney General, a role he described as instrumental to his professional growth and recognition. He reflected on his journey as the son of a respected justice in Enugu State, describing his elevation as a fulfillment of purpose and a call to higher responsibility.
I feel really delighted that the elevation to the Senior Advocate of Nigeria is being celebrated not just by my family but by the government and the people of Enugu State and all well-wishers across Nigeria and even beyond. The elevation to the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria was a process, very tedious process, but we are committed to following the process, and that's my advice to the younger ones. Let them commit to following the process of attaining to whatever dream they have.
As friends, colleagues, and well-wishers poured out tributes and goodwill messages, the atmosphere reflected a deep sense of pride, not just for the man of the moment, but for Enugu State, which continues to produce shining examples in law, leadership, and public service.
Because the Commissioner for Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, he deserves it. He deserves it, actually. He's a very humble man who started from somewhere and got to this stage. Enugu State is proud of him, Nigeria is proud of him, and the sitting governor is proud of him.
We continue to pray for our brother and his family. We continue to wish you the best of luck in your sojourn, because this is the beginning of your sonship. And we pray that God will continue to give you more wisdom, not to pilot the affairs of Enugu State and your sonship. Thank you and God bless.
From the church to the conference center, it was a day that celebrated excellence, humanity, and divine grace. With his new silk, Dr. Kingsley Ude's son not only joins the league of Nigeria's finest legal minds, but also reinforces Enugu State's reputation as a cradle of excellence in Enugu. Chinemere Mikebunam, Signature TV News.
Residents of Ababanike, Enugu are excited with the ongoing reconstruction of the Nike Road being executed by the Enugu State government. Not even the recent closure of the last bus stop portion of the road could diminish the joy. Some of the residents who spoke with our correspondent say that the temporary suffering is worth it.
Road transportation remains the backbone of commerce in Nigeria. According to data from the National Bureau of Statistics, over 90% of goods and passengers are moved by road. Yet, many of these roads are in poor condition, making delivery times slow, increasing fuel costs, and reducing the lifespan of vehicles dramatically. The Enugu state government, as part of its plan to improve road infrastructure in the state, embarked on the dualization of the road from Abakpa Nike to Ugwogo down to Nsukka. Some residents expressed their excitement about the ongoing project.
This bridge, this culvert has disturbed us well here for a long time. Many governors have come for it, but didn't do it like this one. You're doing it now, so I'm very appreciative for what our governor is doing.
Human being, I lost 3 human beings here, both 2 school students and the one balloon pusher. Yes. So this thing, if Pitamba work this thing finish now, this road go there okay. Yeah. So I'm happy.
This bridge has been for past years killing people. No governor has attempted to do anything in the bridge. Man, this Mr. Pitamba has taken over the bridge. We greet the young man. We greet the man again.
And only a few days ago, the government announced the closure of the last bus stop portion of the road. This, it said, is to make way for the construction of a box culvert as part of the ongoing road dualization project. While some business people are indifferent about the impact of the road construction on their business, some complained that it is affecting their businesses.
This is a very nice job, very special for me. It's true that it's affecting that I do have customers here, but I prefer it.
Even my shop now, I go. My customer go come because of this road now. And my customer know they come steady like before. If we finish this road now, my customer go almost come together.
One of the residents complained about the way the road construction was organized, as it affected the people living around the area.
Before now, I have been angry because I like showing my grievances, not because they are constructing the road, but because of the way they are constructing it. They are slow before they start. They blocked every other way, including the bridge. So you find out that people are suffering because of the road construction. In civilized world, or even here in Nigeria, all these big construction companies, they don't suffer people while constructing roads. They give you an escape route, so that once this road is blocked, you can divert to another road. But the first time they started this road, in fact, the people living in Aba saw hell. They saw hell. Our governor have good thing in mind, but the way they are doing it is as if they have some other persons in mind. In my own presence, an elderly woman fell from that bridge side when it was blocked, because before this time they hit a mountain of gravel there. And people find it difficult, especially when it rains, because everywhere we sleep. So, but I'm very, very happy that the letter came to, let me use the word, to their senses.
With the project steadily progressing, even though not at the speed they expected, residents remain optimistic that the temporary discomfort will sooner or later give way to smoother rides and improved business activities. In Enugu, Christopher Lele, Signature TV News.
Cooking is a daily necessity for every household since they must eat to keep body and soul together. However, the choice of what to use in performing this task between charcoal and gas often depends on cost, convenience, and safety. Correspondent Ugonne Owalu, who went to town, reports on the factors shaping these choices.
The choice between charcoal and gas for cooking is more than just a matter of personal preference.
I even prefer charcoal than firewood because it doesn't have any smoke, it doesn't stir my pots. So any quantity of food I wanted to cook, I will just use charcoal to be easier for me. So why I prefer charcoal is that sometimes gas, you may make a mistake. You burn to people's house, not only their house, even yourself, everything you have, gas will just damage it. And it's even cheaper. It's even cheaper than gas. It's even economized. than using gas. I'm buying charcoal 200, 100 naira. So whereas gas, before you purchase 1 kg of gas, it will be under 1,000 something. Recently, here, the gas plant there got fire. That day, Abapa was scatter.
Kingsley Ohaneje, a charcoal vendor who attributed the surge in demand for charcoal to the increasing cost of cooking gas, also explained the various types of charcoal.
There are 3 or more different types of charcoal. There is one you generate from coal, which every one of us know. And there is one that you generate through firewood. These ones now I'm selling is from firewood. And this one have 2 sets in it. We have light, we have iron. So this is iron wood. This iron wood is being gotten from Oba, Oji, and other strong woods that we have in our society. People have actually decided to move from the firewood, the wood, the local wood we used to source it from. They are now trying to bring what we call chemical mechanized form of charcoal. They will get the wood, few other things like the back of palm kernel. They will burn it, grind it. Then initially they used to call it briquette. So they are now entering into that one. If that one comes to the market, I believe the demand will still be in the market. In a way of subsidizing the high rate of cost of gas, because gas, kerosene, all this medium of cooking food is relatively high. So then the demand for charcoal now started rising. So we now decided to venture into it to help ourselves and also others.
Some business owners are increasingly turning to cooking gas as their preferred fuel source, citing its speed, smoke-free operation, and reduced stress as major advantages.
I use gas because gas is faster one. Faster in the sense that it comes on and the heat comes on with it as soon as you put it on. And it's neater in the sense that the utensils you are using while cooking with the gas doesn't stain.
If you want to cook, you can easily cook in gas. In gas, you can make use of it in breakfast. Maybe those of us that normally prepare students like children for their classes, we use gas.
Some charcoal users explain their reason for preferring charcoal over gas for cooking. According to them, some of the key reasons include affordability, tradition, and efficiency.
It depends. You know, this one is local food. So local food, you can use charcoal, you can use gas in local food. Buy in bag, that is 10,500. It lasts for me for 1 week. 1 week. But if it's gas, just 2-3 days.
Gas was before okay and manageable, but these days it's too much expensive. That's why I have to abandon it and go for charcoal. I can get a bag of charcoal at the rate of 7,000. It will take me for 2 to 3 months. Sometimes you go to filling station to purchase the gas. They will give you only air. The gas, if it will not, let me say, it will explode. That is the reason why I have to pack my gas and go back to charcoal, mostly for safety.
It is clear that the choice between charcoal and gas is more than just about personal preference. It is about the complex interplay of social, economic, and environmental factors that shape daily lives. In Enugu, Ugonne Owalu, Signature TV News.
Electricity consumers in the southeast have called on the Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission to urgently resolve its ongoing tariff dispute with Main Power Distribution Limited, warning that the impasse is plunging Enugu communities into darkness. The Southeast Electricity Consumers Association, in a letter signed by its coordinator, Dr. Sebastian Chukwebuka Okafo, said the unresolved disagreement over the July 18, 2025 tariff order has disrupted power supply and created confusion. SECA highlighted issues around data usage, technical losses, and capital expenditure, urging the regulator to suspend the disputed tariff and appoint an independent expert to mediate. NPDL had claimed the reduced Band A tariff to 160 naira per kilowatt hour would cost it over 1.3 billion naira monthly, while EERC insisted the figures were based on the company's own data. The group also demanded meter provision be included in the tariff framework and urged EERC to remain impartial and protect both consumer and investor interests. Up ahead, federal government reconstitutes committee to accelerate talks with varsity and poly unions. Natasha resumes at Senate after 6-month suspension. Details of these and more after the break.
We are local.
The international community is observing every.
Just finished the
When the main market is in chaos, people are.
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye.
Aye. We have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
The federal government has reconstituted and inaugurated the Mahmoud Yayale Ahmed Tertiary Institution's Expanded Negotiation Committee to fast-track talks with academic and non-academic unions across universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. Education Minister Dr. Tunji Alausa announced this in a statement on Tuesday, noting that the expanded committee will unify previous fragmented efforts into a single coordinated framework to ensure inclusive and sustainable agreements. He said the committee, comprising representatives from across the education sector, has been equipped with a functional secretariat and will hold its inaugural meeting by 2 p.m. on Tuesday, October 7th. He urged unions to engage constructively. Dr. Alausa added that President Bola Tinubu has given full political support for a swift and fair resolution. Meanwhile, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has warned members to prepare for a 2-week warning strike starting October 13, following the government's failure to act on its demands. ASU, in a memo signed by National President Professor Chris Piwuna, decried the lack of response to his ultimatum, particularly over the implementation of the renegotiated 2009 ASU-FGN agreement. The management of the National Assembly has cautioned staff against a planned protest and picketing of the complex as lawmakers resume plenary on Tuesday. This follows threats by members of the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria, PASAN, to embark on industrial action over alleged unresolved welfare issues and constitutional violations within the union. In a circular issued by the Secretary of Human Resources, Essien Eyo Essien, on behalf of the clerk to the National Assembly, Kamoru Ogunlana, the management warned that any disruption to legislative activities would attract severe disciplinary action. Essien reminded staff that union membership is voluntary and urged that those dissatisfied with PASAN leadership to follow due process. The warning came after a petition dated October 3rd from a group identified as concerned PASAN members, accusing management of harassing unionists, ignoring welfare demands, and interfering in union matters. Their grievances include non-payment of statutory allowances, failure to implement approved salary structures, lack of staff buses and official vehicles, and delayed implementation of the 40% consolidated peculiar allowance and minimum wage adjustments. As plenary resumes, tensions remain high, with observers noting that the management's response may determine whether legislative proceedings are disrupted. After serving her 6-month suspension, the senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, is set to officially resume plenary sessions along with other lawmakers on Tuesday. Her lawyer, Victor Giwa, confirmed the development, warning that any attempt to block her return would contradict the Senate's own resolution and risk plunging the chamber into chaos. Akpoti Uduaghan was suspended in March 2025 over alleged misconduct during a protest against the reassignment of her seat. Her office, sealed since the suspension, was recently reopened by National Assembly staff. Despite tensions with Senate leadership, the lawmaker remains defiant, stating she has no apology to tender. Her return coincides with the Senate's resumption from an extended recess, drawing national attention to how the upper chamber will handle the matter. Anambra State government is doubling down on its commitment to transformative projects that drive sustainable development and improve the quality of life for citizens. At a recent stakeholders consultative forum for the 2026 budget, government officials, traditional leaders, and other key stakeholders gathered to discuss priorities and shape the state financial blueprint for 2026. Correspondent Lawrence Wimo reports.
As the 2026 fiscal year draws closer, the Anambra State government is taking proactive steps to engage citizens and development partners in shaping a budget that reflects people's needs and priorities. The consultative forum, organized by the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning in collaboration with UNICEF, provided a platform for dialogue on how best to drive sustainable growth across key sectors. The Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning, Chiamaka Nnake, who addressed the stakeholders, said over 70% of the state's annual budget is allocated to transformational projects that align with the governor's vision. She noted that the state government is intentional about developing Anambra and ensuring that its annual budget works for the people.
The real projects in Anambra accounts for over 70% of the budget. I can confirm that to you, and I can show you from the year we started till this year. I can show you the priority projects and when we are with them. I think that's the comfort. So it's not a mere exercise. We're only trying, and that's what we're soliciting for this conversation. Most of these projects, because maybe the roads, how many kilometers of roads and what we're coming to, oh, you need to build this, we need to do that. So we hope that we could get this priority projects from the ministry. It's been quite difficult getting that.
Commissioner for Information, Law Mefo, advocated for a zero budgeting approach that ensures each year's budget differs from the previous one, given the dynamic nature of life and shifting priorities.
One thing I noticed is that there is this disarticulation between the people and the government. Let people continue to make more and more input on their areas of need. Because you may be, if government is removed too much from the people, what government is pursuing may not really reflect precisely what the people consider to be their needs. So the needs of the people must connect, with the priorities of government, and that way the government is delivering on this vision, and people's needs are also carried along at the same time.
Traditional rulers and community leaders also contributed to the discussion, emphasizing the need for people-centric budgeting and active participation in the budgeting process. They also suggested that town hall meetings should be held at local government level. Stakeholders who spoke at the event told the state government to prioritize needs identified by the communities in their charter of demand to ensure even development of the state. From Oka, Lawrence Wimo, Signature TV News.
President Bola Tinubu has called for caution and retrospection in the ongoing industrial dispute between the management of Dangote Petroleum Refinery and the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengassan. Represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima at the 31st Nigerian Economic Summit in Abuja, Tinubu emphasized the need to protect major industrial investments to ensure long-term economic stability and industrial harmony.
Our faith in our economies is the magic wand of our reforms. There is no single decision we have taken that is not guided by the pursuit of balance between economic logic and public expectation. Every reform we have introduced has emerged from deep reflection and the courage to act in the interest of the nation. We owe our specialists and stakeholders in economics and public policy a debt of gratitude for staying with us through turbulent tides, for providing insights, for offering criticisms, and for reminding us that our collective goal is not comfort in divergence, but progress in convergence. Whatever our differences, we are bound by the same destination, the duty we owe our people. That is why I'm honored to share the glory of this day with you. The theme of this summit, Building a Prosperous and Inclusive Nigeria by 2030, breathes life into our development agenda. For a nation as abundantly endowed as ours, with immense natural resources and a population blessed with skills and ambition, our greatest asset lies in planning for the future.
He also cautioned labor unions against actions that could cripple national progress, warning against holding the country to ransom over disputes.
I wish to call for caution, retrospection, and a deeper sense of patriotism from both the labor and the organized private sector in defining and improving the relationship between labor and industry in the interest of maintaining our steadily improving economic fortunes. It's not about holding the whole nation to ransom because of a minor labor dispute. Nigeria is greater than Pengassan. Nigeria is greater than each and every one of us. I am not coming to you as a partisan. I am coming to you as a patriot in search of solutions to our national challenges. I wish to re-emphasize that in the interest of improving the fortunes, the government is hereby tasking the Nigerian Economic Summit Group in taking more than a passing interest in the matter. The government will expect far-reaching recommendations from the NESG in addressing this issue, even as the government is also taking steps to protect big industry and ensuring industrial harmony for the good of the nation.
The federal government recently intervened to broker peace between Pengassan and the Dangote refinery, following a directive by the union for its members to halt gas supply and withdraw services. The union had accused the refinery of unlawfully terminating over 800 workers. In response, Dangote Refinery clarified that the affected employees were disengaged as part of a restructuring process within the company. Meanwhile, Pengassan has criticized the vice president's remarks, defending its actions and vowing to respond similarly if its members face unjust dismissal again. The Nigerian Economic Summit Group, NESG, has warned that Nigeria must generate at least 27 million new formal jobs within 5 years to avoid pushing unemployment and underemployment rates to 30%. The warning comes from the NESG's Jobs and Productivity Report, released on the sidelines of its 31st summit in Abuja. With Nigeria's working age population expected to reach 168 million by 2030, the group described the next 5 years as critical for labor market stability and inclusive growth. The report cited poor infrastructure, regulatory hurdles, and a weak private sector base as key barriers to job creation, calling for urgent reforms. It identified manufacturing, agriculture, digital tech, and services as sectors with high employment potential if properly supported. Up next is business news.
Trading on the Nigerian exchange opened the week on a mixed note, with investors exchanging 519.9 million shares worth 14.54 billion naira in 35,467 deals on Monday, October 6, 2025. The day's performance reflected a 5% decline in volume and a 26% drop in turnover compared to last Friday's session. Although the number of deals improved by 31%, the total market capitalization stood at 91.9 trillion naira. Out of 128 listed equities that traded, 47 recorded gains while 24 closed lower. Seplat Petroleum Development Company led the gainers chart, rising by 10% to close at 5,917 naira 20 kobo per share from 5,379 naira per share. AXA Mansard Insurance followed with a 10% increase to close at 15 naira 84 kobo per share, while Sky Shelter Fund gained 9.97% to close at 381 naira 10 kobo per share. Ella Lakes also advanced by 9.95% to close at 14 naira 81 kobo per share. On the flip side, International Energy Insurance topped the losers chart, shedding 8.42% to close at 2 naira 72 kobo per share from 2 naira 97 kobo per share, while Mark Nichols dropped 8.31% to close at 3 naira 20 kobo per share. Meanwhile, the benchmark Nigerian Exchange All-Share Index moved up 1,238.71 points to close at 144,822.75, representing a one-week gain of 1.89%, a four-week gain of 4.2%, and an overall year-to-date gain of 40.71%. The federal government of Nigeria, through the Debt Management Office (DMO), has opened subscriptions for its October 2025 savings bonds, offering a 2-year bond at 14.062% per annum, maturing on October 15, 2027, and a 3-year bond at 15.062% per annum, maturing on October 15, 2028. According to the DMO, the offer made under the Debt Management Office Act 2003 and Local Loans Act starts on October 6th and will close on October 10th, with settlement scheduled for October 15th. Coupon payments will be made quarterly in January, April, July, and October. Each bond is sold at 1,000 naira per unit, with a minimum subscription of 5,000 naira and a maximum of 50 million naira. The bonds qualify as government securities for tax exemptions and are backed by the full faith and credit of the federal government. Interested investors are advised to contact DMO accredited stockbroking firms. Nigeria's trade with other African countries rose by 610 billion naira to 4.82 trillion naira in the first half of 2025. Up from 4.21 trillion naira in the same period of 2024, according to new data from the National Bureau of Statistics. The rebound was driven by stronger exports, which climbed to 4.82 trillion naira, while imports rose to 1.82 trillion naira. After a slight dip to 1.86 trillion naira in Q1, trade surged to 2.97 trillion naira in Q2, helping Nigeria maintain a trade surplus of 2.99 trillion naira, slightly lower than 3.08 trillion naira a year earlier. In dollar terms, trade with Africa totaled $3.13 billion in H1 2025, up from $2.89 billion in 2024, reflecting improving regional commerce despite currency pressures. The naira appreciated to 1,465 naira per dollar at the official market last week, buoyed by stronger foreign exchange inflows from offshore investors and IMTOs as well as softer US dollar. At the power market, it gained 3.8% to close at 1,460 naira per dollar, narrowing the gap between both markets to just 5 naira 68 kobo. Analysts said the gains reflect easing speculative pressure and renewed market confidence despite an 8% weekly drop in global oil prices. The naira held firm, suggesting a weakening link between the currency and oil trends. Experts expect the local currencies to sustain its rally this week, supported by ongoing.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Tuesday that Afghanistan's Taliban government was working to stabilize the country. Lavrov made the remarks during talks with Moscow with Afghanistan's acting foreign minister Amir Khan Muttaqi. Russia accepted the credentials of a new Afghan ambassador in July, becoming the first country to formally recognize the Taliban government. Muttaqi said Moscow's recognition opened the door to joint projects between the two countries. Russia has been gradually building relations with the Taliban, which President Vladimir Putin said last year was now an ally in fighting terrorism. Since 2022, Afghanistan has imported gas, oil and wheat from Russia. The Taliban was outlawed by Russia as a terrorist movement in 2003, but the ban was lifted in April this year. Russia sees a need to work with Kabul as it faces a major security threat from Islamist militant groups based in a string of countries from Afghanistan to the Middle East. Indonesian rescuers wrapped up the search on Tuesday for victims trapped under the rubble of a collapsed Islamic boarding school in the province of East Java after retrieving more than 60 bodies, disaster authorities said. Grief and confusion gripped the small town of Sidoarjo last week after the foundational failures caused by the Al-Khazini school to cave in on hundreds of people, mostly teenage boys, while they were at afternoon prayers. Most escaped. The bodies of all 61 people in the building have been found, as well as 7 body parts that police are trying to identify. The Disaster Mitigation Agency said in a statement, halting the search efforts in a disaster it had called the year's deadliest. Indonesia's Social Empowerment Minister, Muhaimin Iskandar, said that the government will audit the Al-Khazini school, as well as other privately run Islamic boarding schools, at risk of structural faults. Al-Khazini is one of more than 42,000 such schools nationwide, known as pesantren, just 50 of which have a building permit, the Public Works Ministry has said. A medical emergency helicopter crashed on Monday on a busy stretch of Highway 50 in the California city of Sacramento, injuring 3, the air transport operator said, although there was no patient aboard. The first response team to arrive at the crash site were able to lift the helicopter off of a trapped crew member with assistance from several civilians, said Justin Sylvia of the Sacramento Fire Department. 3 crew members were taken to nearby hospitals for treatment and were considered in critical condition, Sylvia said. The cause of the crash is being investigated. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un attended the inaugural ceremony of Pyongyang General Hospital on Monday, ahead of the 80th founding anniversary of the Workers' Party of Korea, WPK, North Korea state media reported on Tuesday. North Korean state-run television KRT aired video footage of Kim delivering a speech to crowds, including officials and participants, gathered for the celebrations of the WPK anniversary before cutting the ribbon. Kim said the opening of the hospital indicates the essence of the strategy for modernizing public health of North Korea, according to state news agency KCNA. Officials and people walked around looking at medical facilities such as the operation room, patient room, and MRI machine after the ceremony. Pyongyang General Hospital, whose groundbreaking ceremony Kim attended in March 2020 and whose completion he ordered by October that year, was delayed due to material shortages and the COVID-19 pandemic, South Korea's Yonhap news agency reported. The Trump administration is working hard to advance as quickly as possible a proposed plan to end the conflict in Gaza, with technical discussions underway, White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt said on Monday.
We now have the first phase of this U.S. plan, and this first phase aims at a ceasefire, the release of hostages and also the release of Palestinian prisoners, restraint in the military conflict and, above all, that food, water, medicines and the most essential supplies are finally brought to the population in the Gaza Strip. We must now achieve this first phase this week, or at the latest by the beginning of next week. We welcome Israel's agreement to this plan. Now it is Hamas's turn. Israel also has a responsibility to ensure a smooth transition between the different phases of the plan. We need the ceasefire for Gaza as soon as possible so that the hostages can be released and the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza can finally come to an end. The big questions of the day after must not prevent us from taking the first steps towards a peaceful solution now. The talks of the last few days make me confident that this has been understood by all sides. This is exactly what I discussed again today with my Israeli colleague Gideon Sar in a very friendly conversation. Israel will have to make compromises in order to secure the release of the hostages.
Swedish activist Greta Thunberg arrived at Athens airport on Monday after being detained by Israeli forces when they boarded a flotilla of boats trying to deliver food and medicine to Gaza last week. Israel said it had deported an additional 171 activists from the flotilla on Monday to Greece and Slovakia, including Thunberg. Earlier, Swiss and Spanish activists from the flotilla said they were being subjected to inhumane conditions during their detention by Israeli forces.
Let me be very clear. There is a genocide going on in front of our very eyes. A live-streamed genocide on all of our phones. No one has the privilege to say we are not aware of what is happening. No one in the future will be able to say we did not know. Under international law, states have a legal obligation to act to prevent and to stop a genocide from happening. That means ending complicity, applying real pressure, and ending arms transfers. We are not...
And that's the news this hour. I am Uchenna Chimdi Oluoha. Thanks for watching.